Well, guess what? I'm not going down like that. We're not going down like that. The people who voted for me deserve to have their voices heard and communities prioritized. I'm seeking the truth right now, just as much as you all are. But I will not be bullied, and I will not be disparaged, and I will not be threatened out of this office. There are a lot of radical right-wing forces who know they will never win an election in Oakland fair and square. They know their extreme views are at odds with our Oakland values, but they have built the rules to protect and preserve their power and maintain dominance over the rest of us.
And so we know that the work that we have done was actually great, and it's positive. And it is because of doom loopers that continue to talk about nasty crimes in the city of Oakland that allows for people to believe that, somehow the crimes aren't coming down. And it is that fear mongering that you continue to do that actually suppresses a lot of people's feelings about Oakland, and I think that that's very unjust.
So Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao very much of the belief that there's too much negative news. In fact, she has pointed out to reporters, including myself, that there needs to be more focus on positive news, but clearly she is digging in her heels. The night is still young. Right now, 65% of those in favor of her recall, as well as the recall of District Attorney Pamela Price. Now,
Several months later.
Good evening and thanks for joining me. I'm Gia Vang. It's official. Retired Congresswoman Barbara Lee will be the next mayor of Oakland. Former City Council member Loren Taylor has conceded to the veteran lawmaker. The move comes a day after the latest tally shows Lee with a sizable 5,000 vote lead. Today, Lee made her first appearance as a mayor-elect and at a community Easter event in Oakland. NBC Bay Area's Christy Smith was there and has more on the race results.
Boy. So we got to talk about Oakland, or shall I say Wokeland, because they just had a new mayor's race after Mayor Sheng Tao was recalled due to her federal corruption charges that she has against her, because she basically turned Oakland into a full-blown Asian mafia playground.
We're learning more about a wild shootout that may be connected to the federal corruption case involving former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao and others.
Yes, we are hearing from the man targeted in that shooting and a neighbor who saw it all happen.
New at 6, ABC 7 News I-Team reporter Dan Noyes is here with the story. Dan.
Well, Dan and Ama, Mario Juarez is in a difficult place. He can't speak out because he could be a witness in that federal corruption case against former Mayor Sheng Tao and others. Still, he wants to know why police arrested 2 suspects in December for the shooting at his home, but released them without warning him. You can still see a bullet hole in the rain gutter at Mario Juarez's house in the Fruitvale neighborhood, 9 months after the shootout.
And then it stopped there and it shot like 2 times.
Sheila Campos lives across the street. She tells me she was headed to work after 9 p.m. when she saw a car drive by 3 times, firing at Juarez's house and Suburban. On the last pass, Mario Juarez came outside with his .40 caliber Glock.
And he started shooting back, like firing back, pa, 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 pa. And the car just kind of skeeted off, but kind of fast. And he was in the middle of the street shooting, like trying to get him.
I've been speaking to Mario Juarez by an encrypted phone app. He tells me he can't be in Oakland right now because he still fears for his life. He sent a written statement first reported by the San Francisco Chronicle that says 2 suspects were nabbed in December 2024 tied to these attacks, but justice, it never came. Oakland police made the arrests, but the DA's office, just days after Pamela Price left office because of the recall, allowed the suspects to walk without charges and without informing Juarez that the men who may have shot at him were back on the streets.
It's an issue of safety, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely an issue of safety.
Ernie Castillo is Mario Juarez's attorney.
When you have people come into your house and you get into a shootout and people shoot at you, that's a huge concern. So we should have been notified by that former administration, 100%.
Mario Juarez recently had a fraud case against him dropped. He was accused of bouncing checks for a mailer that supported Sheng Tao in her race for mayor. As part of that case, Juarez accused then District Attorney Pamela Price of demanding $25,000 from him to help her recall, saying when he refused, she filed the criminal case against him.
In that motion were declarations and statements by witnesses, including Mario Juarez, that the former administration had tried to shake down Mario for $25,000 And if he had not contributed to that campaign for $25,000, then they would charge him.
Through her attorneys, Price denied asking Juarez for money. Back to the shooting in June, neighbors confirmed to me that the day after the gunfire, the FBI canvassed the neighborhood looking for witnesses and surveillance video. And just 10 days later, agents raided the homes of then Mayor Sheng Tao, her partner Andre Jones, and David and Andy DeWong, owners of California Waste Solutions. They're all charged with conspiracy, bribery, mail-in wire fraud, and more. Federal prosecutors also claim Tao agreed to purchase modular units for the homeless from Evolutionary Homes, a company run by the DeWongs and Mario Juarez.
The product that we have is a single-family resident home.
Though he is not named in the indictment, Juarez appears to be unindicted co-conspirator one who acted as a go-between for the DeWongs and Sheng Tao. Now, Mario Juarez says they saw me as a threat, not because I'm perfect, because I wouldn't bow. They wanted me dead to keep their secret safe, to silence a voice that wouldn't shut up. They picked the wrong man.
Yeah, so full-blown corruption in Oakland, and this is why the city is a complete and total disaster, okay? They're facing a $100+ million budget deficit. They cannot fund their police. They can't fund their potholes, right? Because apparently there's so much crime that you have people afraid. The construction workers are afraid to do their jobs. I mean, I've covered these stories before, okay? You have a lot of wild things happening in Oakland. Businesses are leaving left and right. The first in and out to actually go out of business happened in Oakland, not because they couldn't make money, but because it was too dangerous to operate, okay? So Oakland has been dealing with a lot of crime, and the crime is just getting worse and worse and worse.
Moving to the East Bay now, an Oakland police officer is recovering tonight after being attacked. It happened on International Boulevard near 105th Avenue on Friday afternoon. ABC 7 News reporter Ansar Hassan spoke to Oakland police, who are concerned this is an indication of crime trending upwards.
It happened fast.
I've been a police officer for 25 years. I've never encountered this. It's probably something you're not expecting.
Lieutenant Tim Donnellan with the Oakland Police Department says 2 officers were stopped at a red light on International Boulevard on Friday afternoon. The patrol car had its windows down. That's when the officer on the passenger side was hit in the face.
The officer was able to get out, defend himself, and the other officer helps out too, and they were able to take the person into custody.
Lieutenant Donnellan says the officer was transported to the hospital, evaluated, and is now back home. There's no indication the officer was targeted, and Oakland police aren't able to reveal much about the suspect, only saying he was taken into custody and placed on a mental health hold.
We can't get into specifics about who the person is. There's privacy rights related to that. And that case hasn't been charged yet. So there is, I know our criminal investigations division is following up with charging this for assaulting an officer.
Oakland police would not disclose the identity of the officer, but they did say the officer is a graduate of Oakland's most recent police academy. Oakland City leaders did not return requests for comment. The police union claims crimes are trending higher in Oakland this year compared to 2024, and that an assault like this is indicative of what's happening on the streets of Oakland at a time when OPD is facing budget cuts.
Homicides are up this year to where we were at last year. I was looking at some of the statistics this morning, and I think shootings are up 14% as well. I'm worried that crime is trending up, and we're seeing our staffing levels are going down. I'm a little worried about the future of how we're going to police the city if we keep losing officers.
Yeah, so full-blown disaster. They have a crime epidemic. There's a huge problem with crime, and the residents of Oakland had an opportunity to turn it around, to at least show that they want to move in the right direction when it comes to leadership. And they completely blew it, okay? Because during this recall election, the citizens of Oakland, the residents of Oakland, decided to select a soft on crime progressive, Miss Barbara Lee, to become the next mayor of the city, okay? To replace Sheng Tao, who again is facing federal corruption charges. So now what we have is Oakland going full-blown Chicago, okay? They replaced Lori Lightfoot with Brandon Johnson, who was even more of a lunatic than Lori Lightfoot, which was hard to imagine at the time, right? So Oakland is doing the exact same thing, replacing Sheng Tao, a far-left lunatic, with an even further left lunatic in Barbara Lee, who was a congresswoman, okay? And as you can see here, she is pictured with Jasmine Crockett, who also is extremely far left. So Oakland is just signing up for more chaos and destruction because, again, Ms. Barbara Lee, she has made it clear, okay, that police are racist and that the institution needs to be dismantled because of its racism.
Is hard to even talk about the pain and the suffering and what, once again, the Black community is going through as a result of the dehumanization of Black and brown people. And when you look at what is taking place, the culture, the police culture, we need reform. We need to dismantle these systems and these policies that allow police officers to get away, literally, in many respects, murder. And this is just another example. And this is, and I think President Biden in his statement talked about the trauma and the burden of Black and brown people that we carry all of the time. Yeah. And this is gut-wrenching. And so we have to come together and just say no more, dismantle these systems because they're based on implicit bias. They're developed to dehumanize people so that police officers can get away with murder.
Coming together and dismantling sounds nice, Congresswoman.
Yes.
Yeah, so you know you're a lunatic when an MSNBC anchor is laughing and snickering at your crazy ideas, right? Wanting to dismantle the police, right? She wants to dismantle policing. So again, I'm trying to figure out exactly why these residents decided to vote for even further left lunatic, but we've seen this play out time and time and time again. These people don't seem to understand that their problem stems from progressivism, right? They don't understand. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Now to the race for Oakland mayor today. Candidate Loren Taylor called former Congresswoman Barbara Lee to concede the race, congratulating her on her win. Taylor released the statement this morning, reading in part, "This morning I called Congresswoman Barbara Lee to congratulate her on becoming the next mayor of Oakland. While the outcome was not what we worked for and hoped for, I am incredibly proud of the race we ran." He goes on to say, "We ran this campaign with integrity, with bold ideas, and with an unshakable commitment to the people of this city." In her own statement, Lee said, quote, "I accept your choice with a deep sense of responsibility, humility, and love. Oakland is a deeply divided city. I answered the call to run to unite our community so that I can represent every voter and we can all work together as one Oakland to solve our most pressing problems." The results released yesterday showed Lee garnered about 52% of the vote, while Taylor had just over 47%. Barbara Lee attended an Easter carnival today in Oakland after Taylor conceded. She said she wanted to keep the focus on this community event, but she did briefly talk about her priorities after taking office.
Of course, public safety, meeting with our police chief, meeting with our department heads, our city administrator, really looking at all of the issues, our unsheltered population, how we're going to move forward with economic development and creation of jobs. Everything is on my website, but today let's have a good time. But thank you for the question, but we intend to hit the ground running.
Wow. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. How do you, hey, well, at least the election was kind of close, right? But still, how do you vote in a further left lunatic? Now, again, you can listen to what she's saying. Oh, we're going to focus on, safety and whatnot. It's like, does anybody really believe these people are going to fix the homelessness problem, right? These California Democrats spent $25 billion on homelessness in California. Homelessness got worse because it was all funneled to their nonprofit buddies, right? In her case, again, she's a progressive, so we all know that her friends are the nonprofits, and she's going to be funneling a bunch of money to them the same way that Shane Tower is doing, right? To try to fight homelessness. But ultimately, they're not going to be successful. They're not going to be successful. They're going to spend a whole bunch of money, and they're not going to get anything out of it. That's what's about to happen.
Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett was alongside Lee at today's event in Oakland. This special election for Oakland mayor saw a dramatic shift with Barbara Lee overtaking Loren Taylor. KTVU's Betty Yu brings us voter reaction from across the city.
78-year-old former Congresswoman Barbara Lee, a progressive leader with nearly 3 decades of experience representing Oakland and the surrounding areas, said she entered the race to help heal a deeply divided city.
I'm so glad to be here.
Saturday, Lee said Taylor had called her to concede the race. She thanked Oakland voters for her win and said she plans to, quote, do the hard work and make the tough decisions.
I think she's amazing. She's a social worker. First of all, I'm a social worker as well. She's done a lot for Oakland as the representative, and I think she'll bring a lot of influence and investment into Oakland.
47-year-old former city council member Loren Taylor, who narrowly lost to Sheng Tao by just 677 votes in 2022, said Oakland needs a pragmatic leader focused on tangible solutions. His campaign centered on what he called a broken Oakland, with a call for results-driven leadership.
I was hoping for Loren Taylor. I think he would offer a bit more stability and consistency. His familiarity with Oakland and how he focused on what he was trying to do, setting up a plan first and detailing out what he wanted to do as far as action steps.
Only about 38% of registered voters cast ballots in the special election.
It's really very disappointing, especially given how much action is happening at the national level. We need to be engaged in the local politics and the national politics, and there are no easy ways out. You have to be engaged.
Voters said public safety and Oakland's growing budget crisis were top priorities at the ballot box. Some also expressed frustration with the city's ranked choice voting system.
I think in a democracy you should vote who you want to vote for, and the vote should be counted, and that's it.
Lee will serve the remainder of former Mayor Sheng Tao's term until another election in November 2026. In Oakland, Betty Yu, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that, okay? Oakland has pulled a Chicago. But I guess the good thing is that, I will still be covering these stories about how Barbara Lee is running Oakland further into the ground, right? We know it's not going to get better, right? We know it's going to get worse. So it's like, okay, well, hey, these are stories that I'll be able to talk about in the future. I already know to pay special attention to what's happening in Oakland, because I'm going to make the same prediction that I made about Chicago, which is that this progressive experiment that's about to happen in Oakland is going to make it even worse, right? It's not going to have a good outcome, okay? If you look at Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, his approval is in the single digits, legitimately at 7%, right? So what you have here is that you have another, city, woke city, decided to put, woke women or some, woke Democrat in charge of the city, and they're facing major problems. And these people can't solve the problems, right? They don't have the answers. They're just going to make it worse. But these people keep voting for it. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share. A Black conservative perspective. Peace.